Welcome back to Pace Immigration, paceimmigration.com, talking with immigration lawyer Michael O'Rourke. Michael, good to see you. And I must say, the background today, very artistic. I like it.
I'm working from home, Sean.
I love it. We got the art in the background, and today we're talking about a subject that we don't talk about a lot, which is dogs, immigration for dogs. But it is actually important. I mean, dogs have exploded, I think, anyway, in Canada and the U.S. I don't know about the rest of the world, but I don't think you can live in Toronto without seemingly owning a dog. I see them everywhere. So we have rules for bringing your dog into the USA because some rules have changed. People watching this down the road in the future don't pay too much attention to the dates. But for right now, when we're recording it, these rules are new. And Michael, we have some new rules for your pup, and there's beloved Diesel. That was my dog, yes, and my girlfriend's dog. There he is. He's passed now, but he's a great dog, and he's looking surprised. He's like, "What? New rules? What are you talking about?" So, as of August 1st, 2024, all dogs entering the United States must what?
So they have to appear healthy on arrival, which means that they have to have good-looking teeth. They have to pass whatever border officer's assessment that they are indeed healthy. So if they have a cold or if they are otherwise feeling poorly, they might not be allowed in. They must also be 6 months of age and have a microchip, and you have to now have a receipt for submitting a CDC dog import form. And this one doesn't yet exist, but it will in the future.
Right. If anyone's watching this right now in the early summer of 2024, that form will exist, or that receipt will exist on July 15th. And everyone watching afterwards, of course, you'll be able to get it online. Michael, let's talk about these new rules. What's it all about? What's it for?
Yeah, so in 2007, U.S. eradicated rabies in dogs. I think Canada was similar, eradicated it as of a similar date. So the U.S. is trying to protect its local indigenous dog population from being exposed to rabies.
Right. So let's talk about who it applies to. There's going to be people out there saying, well, wait a minute, I'm a U.S. citizen, or I'm just going back and forth across the border, that kind of thing. But apparently these rules apply to everybody.
Literally everybody. And it doesn't matter where you might have been, but if your dog has been or is coming from a high-risk territory, which means a place where rabies is still endemic, you're going to have to jump through a bunch of hoops to bring your dog into the U.S. Currently, there are some restrictions as well based on geography, and you can only import max of 2 dogs. This new set of rules doesn't give us a maximum amount of importation, but it is becoming broader and applying to everybody and all of their dogs coming from these different areas.
Right. And we have here, if you don't, so let's say you don't want to follow the rules, that's fine. But guess what? Your dog won't be allowed to enter the U.S. And in fact, it will be sent back to the last country of departure, not necessarily where you're from.
Right. Say you come from Zimbabwe, which is on the list. You fly through Amsterdam and then to the United States. The dog would be returned to Amsterdam.
Right. And good luck with all that, with the money spent and everything back and forth.
Yes.
Okay, so let's dig a little bit deeper. We've got, as you mentioned, geography matters. If you're from a country that's quote unquote high risk for rabies, there's certain rules, and then there's rules for others.
Yes, even from a low risk country, you're still going to have to do the dog importation form. Even if your low risk country does not have dog rabies, such as Canada, such as Iceland, you have to do the importation form, and you either have to produce a veterinary certificate saying that they were inoculated against rabies in the United States, or have a veterinarian sign off and provide health records showing that they've received their inoculation and that they're in good health.
Right, and people are probably asking, okay, how do I know which country, am I a high-risk country, am I low risk, which documents do I need? And the documents are actually quite extensive. It does a lot of or, however. You need this, or you need this, or you need this. So it's not a huge stack of documents, but there are some important ones that you need. And we've got DogBot here. So let's talk about that. How do I know, Michael, what I need?
Have you asked DogBot, Sean?
Actually, you know what? I did. I went through it like 5 times and selected different countries and things. It's actually really simple and quick to use.
Yeah, it's actually not a bad it's thing. It's a chat bot, and it does make you uh, swear twice that you have looked at the list of high risk territories. So it goes through everything you'll need, and then it'll spit out what the different acceptable documents are. I think the biggest catch right now that I see is that you are going to have a veterinarian sign off on your pet's health records 30 days in advance of your trip to the United States. So you're going to have to plan.
I noticed that too. I mean, this isn't, don't, if you're thinking of moving to the US or something like that, don't do this, 8 months out and think you're covered. I mean, they want this pretty recent.
Yeah, exactly. And not being a scientist, although I might be playing one on TV, I'm not sure now. But it could be that the rabies vaccination series only takes effect after 30 days. If you happen to know the answer to this, please feel free to put it in the comments. But they do want a 30-day window in between your applying for the dog importation certificate and when you travel.
Okay, and here we have again Diesel looking a little bit forlorn about these new rules. We have here, make sure you're entering at the airport, seaport, or boarding crossing that's indicated on the CDC dog import receipt. So if you tell Dogbot and then you go through and do the application that this is where you're going to, such as say, I don't know, Michael, what, Buffalo, then you need to enter at Buffalo.
Exactly. And another thing, for people flying into the US, there are only 16 or 17 airports which have animal inspection facilities. They're the major airports. So, for instance, you can't fly into Pierre, South Dakota and expect that your animal is going to be examined under this. So, check the documentation closely as you're going through it to make sure that one, you're going into a place that will be able to inspect your dog and that you've got the right documentation to show that your dog is healthy.
Right. And this, we talk about immigration all the time, where we're mainly talking about people going for long periods of time, if not permanently or trying to. This applies even if you're just visiting. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Doesn't matter the length of the trip. If your dog is crossing the border into the U.S., it has to have papers.
Yeah, I mean, this will be big for especially Canadians who are used to driving back and forth across the border. If you've got your pooch in the back seat, make sure you've got all your stuff up to date, or they might turn you around.
Exactly. So what we don't know yet, Sean, is say you're a frequent traveler across the US-Canada border. We don't know if you're going to have to do a dog importation certificate each time, or if it could cover a period of time with multiple entries. Just not sure yet because the form doesn't even exist. So
Right.
that's something to be aware of, is that you might have to do this each time you cross the border.
Right. And hopefully, I mean, they iron that out. We've seen, of course, over the years, Michael, you've seen it way more than me, that after a new program rolls out, maybe not even to make it easier on the traveler, just to make it easier on the bureaucracy itself, they might change this so you get a yearly pass or something like that.
Exactly. Dog pass.
Okay.
Dog pass through
Dog
Dogbot.
pass. I like it. Dogbot, get you a dog pass. Okay. Michael, thanks a lot for this. I hope you have a great weekend. We're recording this on a Friday. We'll see you again soon. Any questions you have about dogs or people going to the United States, don't be afraid to contact Michael at MORourke@baselawfirm.com. Thank you, Michael.
Thanks, Sean. Take care. Have a good
Okay.
weekend.